This is a game running inside Minecraft being displayed on the Locator Bar, and this isn't the only game I've made with it. But if you don't know what the Locator Bar is, it's a new feature in Minecraft that normally shows you the locations of players right above your hotbar, as you can see. But obviously these are not players, they're armor stands, because you can actually pretty much use it for whatever you want. You can put pretty much anything you want on the bar. So as you can see, these armor stands are being tracked on the Locator Bar. If I look left and right, the dots down here move. And, as I move, they kind of move around as well. So that's what the Locator Bar is. But yeah, you can use it for other things. So this is a game that's being displayed on the Locator Bar. And I'm actually playing it. I just died. But I'm the green dot, and I move left and right by pressing left and right. Or A and D. But yeah, basically moving left and right in the game. And it moves the green dot, and there are orange missiles that get shot at me. Or I guess, sometimes they won't be at me, I guess. But they're getting shot around, and I can actually go through the missiles without getting hurt. But when they explode, they turn into yellow particles, and if I'm too close to the explosion, then I actually die. So if I, so it exploded, and then those red dots that went across the screen, that means you died. So it's just like a way to show that you died. So that because there's not really anything else that happens other than I guess everything resets, but you might not even notice that. I don't know. So yeah, you just have to avoid pretty much the yellow explosions. Like, you can go through the orange dots, but the yellow explosions that, after like 2.5 seconds, the orange dots turn into the yellow explosions. And if you get too close to those, you'll die. And everything will reset. So as you can see, I have to just avoid the yellow explosions. So I'm not dying right now, but if I'm inside this orange one, exploded, and now I see I died because those red dots went across the screen. There's also like an explosion sound that plays when you die. But anyway, so it's a really simple game. It's not like a super advanced game or anything. And now I'm going to show you another game. So this is the other game. It looks pretty different. So this one you actually move around, like using all 4 of your movement keys, and you can look around. You might not be able to tell what I'm looking at here, but this is supposed to be like a room, or actually it's sort of like a maze. And it's probably hard to tell, but it's supposed to look like I'm looking around, like I'm looking to the right, and I'm looking to the left. And so right ahead of me is dim, and then to the right of me it's brighter, and to the left of me it's brighter, but there's some dim areas. So the dimmer it is, the further away it is from me. So there's a wall in front of me, but it's dim because it's far away. And to the right of me there's a wall, but it's really close because it's bright. So yeah, and I can walk around. It probably, I don't know how well you can tell, but the stuff close to me is, a nearby wall, and then in the back there's the dimmer dots, which are a farther away wall. So yeah, as you can see, I don't know how well you can really see what it is. And then this is black because I can't even see the end of the hallway if I go here. But if I start walking, then it comes in, and now I can actually see, a dim wall in the distance because, I can actually see it. And there's red dots, and those are enemies. You can't, the only thing you can really do with those is just avoid them. So yeah, I don't really know how well you can understand what I'm doing. It might just look like dots are moving around on the screen. This isn't really obviously the game using just the Locator Bar. Now I'm actually showing you real game. But as you can see, this is what I'm actually looking at. So in front of me, okay, it's a bit brighter now, so you should be able to see better. In front of me so I have to walk a long ways, and then I get to this wall here, and as I go back, there's this, and then there's this wall. So basically, if you look at the Locator Bar, you can see in the middle there's very dim yellow dots, and then towards the sides it's brighter, and that's the dim in the middle is because this wall here is really far away. But of course, as I get close to it, now it's really bright. And then if I turn this way, you can see that there's this stone path that goes pretty far, and I can't even see the end of it on the Locator Bar, but as I get closer, then it kind of comes in. So it's supposed to look pretty much like a 3D maze, I guess. but obviously it's 1D, so it looks a bit weird. So yeah, it's like you can tell how far away things are by how dim they are, and then of course you can look around and change your view and kind of change what you can see, and you can walk around, of course. Hopefully you understand what what it's supposed to look like at the bottom of the screen. Hopefully it doesn't look like a bunch of dots and gradients, I mean it is, but hopefully you can understand what it's like supposed to look like. So let's actually start playing the way it's supposed to be, where you can't see the real room or maze. But anyway, so like if you go, I'll show you what happens if you get too close to an enemy. It's really hard to tell because they're just dots. You can't tell that they're getting close to you, but they do get closer to you if you get too close. Oh yeah, and then it flashes, or the bar flashes, and then you go back to the start. So now I'm back at the start again. This is the wall that's in front of me, and I turn left, and then there's the long hallway. So yeah, I don't know how it's hard to see as I move around. Like, yeah, you can't really tell that the dot is moving, but if you get too close to it, it starts moving towards you. And then eventually, if it gets too close, everything will reset and you'll be back at the start. So this time, I don't know if you can like tell, but let me go. This is the start. So, there's this way off to the left, and then this, and then I can go to the right, and there's a bigger room, and now you can see the walls actually loading in. Well, I guess it's not really loading, but... And then you can see there's an enemy over there, so we just want to avoid that one. It looks like there's not really anywhere else you could go, but if we go this way, there's like a small hallway, so we can go through here. And then there's more. So there's, something in the middle here, a wall. There's an enemy over there. We can go this way, and it looks like we can keep going this way. But there's another enemy there, so probably don't want to go that way. We can keep exploring, and there's that enemy again. So we can see that there's just like a wall in the middle, but I could go around it. So like there's the wall that I'm going around, and now you can see that enemy again because I went around that like pillar. I guess it's more like a pillar in the middle of the room. But actually this way there is another small hallway, and as you can see there's 4 enemies in here, so we kind of want to avoid this. You might not really know how to or where to go. Looks like, oh yeah, they got to me and I died. So, you don't want to get too close to them, as I, had already showed you before, but obviously it works with all enemies. You might have even been able to tell that one was moving, because it wasn't, perfectly, like, if I stay really close to the wall here, yeah, now I'm like close to the wall, and you can see the 4 enemies there. I'm pretty far away from them. Yeah, you can see this is what they're supposed to look like. They're in a square. It's kind of probably hard to tell because it's all one-dimensional, but if I turn around there's a green one, and that's the end. So if I go towards that, everything flashes green, and then it resets again. So yeah, that's the game. I don't know how well you can really tell what was going on there, but yeah, it's supposed to look like a maze that you go through. Well, it's not really a maze because there's not really many dead ends. Well, there were, I guess. Like, if I went left at the start, or if I go in here and to the left, there was this enemy. This is also a dead end. If you go this way, there's not really anything you can do. You're going to die. But now if I go... Actually, I'll get myself night vision again. So, this is like what the actual maze looks like. And you can see these armor stands, or those, the enemies. I'll avoid them for now, but I will actually show you what they look like when you can actually see. So I'm actually kind of forced to look down right now. Like if I try to look up, it doesn't work because, well, actually, yeah, if you like look up too much when you're here, because there's a room above you that you're technically in the whole time, so that you can't really see normally. But if you look up or down, you get all the arrows, and I didn't really want, on the locator bar, I didn't really want those to appear. But now you can see this area. So there's this one. This is that ending that dead end that I recently like died in, I guess. And then going this way, this is the one with the 4 enemies. You had to go around this. Oh, one found me. Yeah, okay. Actually, it's going to be hard, I think. I'm just going to like... Yeah, okay. And then there's the green... This armor stand in front of me is that green green one that is the end. If I get close to it, it resets again. This puts me back in here, but I'm actually going to disable that teleport or that rotate command. Where is it? Okay, so now I can actually look around freely, but anyway, you'll notice there's a lot of armor stands, invisible armor stands. So yeah, anyway, I guess, yeah, now you're already seeing this. I guess I'll show you what it's like to get caught by an enemy. Like, you can see the enemy actually comes towards you kind of slowly. And then as you can see, if I know what I'm doing, I can kind of tell where it is. And it's actually like, you can see on the locator bar what it actually looks like. And you can see the enemy is actually being tracked. So as it moves, the dot moves, and then I got too close and it killed me. So I guess, I can kind of show you that. If you look down at the bar right now, I can try to like get close to the, I don't know, fine, I'm going to get really close to it and keep waiting. Okay, I think I'm getting it to move around. So now you can see it kind of moving around. Yeah, now it's like okay, now it killed me like pretty much at the start. But anyway, I'm going to go down here so you can, well, yeah, I guess that's all there is to see. The enemies just chase you. They all will. Oh, I died. Well, anyway, so yeah, there's this like a room here with barriers. So this is the room you're actually walking around in. But obviously, you're not really supposed to see the room when you're here. You're supposed to look at the locator bar. So if you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see the game as it's supposed to be played. I can go here. Oh, there's that enemy. Let's go around here. But now you can actually kind of see in 3D the actual level that I'm walking. You can't see the enemies, but you can kind of see the path that I have to take and everything. And then you can see those 4 red dots are the 4 enemies, but you can't see them here. And I can see this big room, and I can walk around it and everything. So yeah, that's what it is. I guess I could try dying, and then getting everything flashes, and then I teleport back. So yeah, that's kind of what is actually going on, if you could see everything. But I'm actually going to go, I might talk a little bit more about that game, but I'm actually going to first go over like the behind the scenes of the first game. So yeah, this is actually the same world I had in the last video. I had all the, these are the frogs going around in minecarts. Anyway. But yeah, and then this stone structure I've built the games on. So there's a bunch of armor stands. I used armor stands a lot here because they were, they're a good option to use for the waypoints because they're not like living entities, like a zombie or something that would move around on its own. But they can still have the waypoint transmit range attribute. Unlike, maybe markers or minecarts or maybe some other random entities. Like, I don't know. So armor stands are pretty good for this. Pretty much everything is an armor stand. I don't even know anything that isn't. Like, literally the only entities in this world are probably armor stands and me. Anyway, so the first game is that, like, that dodge the bullets game. So there's this room that you have to walk into to start the game. And then now, as you can see, everything's like going, I can play the game. There's the missiles and you have to dodge them, or at least dodge their explosions. This is kind of cool, but if you want to see what it looks like, because there's a bunch of armor stands moving in the background, I can kind of show you, like you can see an armor stand moving, and I died, so weird things are happening. But I think it would be easier if I showed you this with another account. So I have a second account now. As you can see, I have this account, so I'm going to use this account to play the game. So I'm going to hop in the machine, and as you see, I'm the pink dot. So so you can see I'm playing the game now, and in the middle of the screen, if you don't look at the locator bar, you can see everything that's going on. There's a bunch of stuff happening. You should see, like, in the middle of the screen, kind of far away, there's like 5 levels. So on the bottom level, there's this single armor stand that is moving, and there's more randomly. They're just sometimes there's one armor stand that stays on that bottom level, and when I'm not talking about that one when they move across the screen at the bottom of the screen. I'm talking about kind of in the middle of the screen. There's 5 far away layers of blocks. So I'm in the bottom one, the smooth stone one. There's a bunch of armor stands that come and go, I guess, but there's one armor stand that stays. And that's the one that is controlled by me. So as you can see, I'm moving like left and right. And that one moves. And if I stop moving, it's not moving at all. So yeah, that's your player armor stand. Like that's the green dot. And oops, I died. Okay. And you'll notice, okay, whenever I die, there's a bunch of armor stands at the bottom of the screen that are really close to me, and they move across the screen whenever I die. Those are the red dots that you see when I die. So when there's red dots, let's see if I can get some to appear. There we go. You see the red dots. You can even see the locator bar. You can see the red dots moving across the screen. I guess, yeah, you can see, and that's what those armor stands are. Those are the red dots. But anyway, back in the like background, you can see the second layer with down-facing arrows. Those are those are where all the missiles go that move to the right fast. So you'll notice there's like 4 armor stands, always at least 4 on the armor stands on that row, but sometimes there will be more. Like one will appear in another one and then start moving to the right. It's not happening right now. Okay, there we go. So now you can see it's moving to the right, and there's another one. So yeah, those are the missiles that move quickly to the right, and then on the floor, or whatever you want to call it, above that with up-facing arrows, there is the same thing, but the ones that move to the left. So fast ones moving to the left go there, and then above that, there's more that move to the right, but they're slower. So those are the gray. They're observers, but they just look like gray blocks. As you can see, sometimes on that. Okay. Oh yeah, there we go. We got one. Okay, and then the one at the very top as well, which are going to the left, but slower. So the ones on the top move slightly. The 2 top levels moves. The armor stands up there move slightly slower, or at least the ones that move at all move slightly slower than the ones on the 2 levels below that. And then you'll notice whenever they explode, there are more armor stands summoned at the bottom level with the one that I move, like the one that I control. And those are the explosion particles. So there's usually, there's 5 in total, but there's one that appears, and then one that appears, and then 2 that appear after, and then 2 more that appear after that. And the one in the middle disappears pretty much as the last 2 get spawned. So those armor stands are the yellow particles. And the middle one is the one that can kill you if you get too close to it. So that's how it works. That's what you can see. But there's other things going on that actually make that stuff happen. So this is all the redstone and command blocks for. Most of this is for the shooting, or it's not shooting, it's the missiles game. A little bit is for the maze game. Yeah, most of the command blocks are for the missile one, but this line and a few other parts are for the maze game. But anyway, so yeah, I'll start with the shooting one, or it's not shooting. I keep saying that. It's not shooting. You're not shooting anything. You're just avoiding missiles. I'm just going to explain like the commands that run the actual game, not necessarily the switching between games and stuff like that. So, when you start game 1, it will give me movement speed. Okay, so it makes me faster. If I'm at normal speed, then the moving, you can't really tell, but moving in here is kind of slow. You'll notice it you might not be able to tell, but anyway, the point is just so that I can move faster and probably more smoothly, I make me a bit faster, so I move to those pressure plates faster, because this is this is where you are when you're playing the game, because obviously you don't have to actually see anything, you just have to look at your locator bar. So this is where you are, but there's a little bit of stuff in here. So there's some walls to prevent you from moving too far, and it kind of messes up the locator bar a little bit. Not much, it just looks a little bit weird if you move too far. But so there's a middle pressure plate, which I can't really see right now, but there's a middle pressure plate that sort of, it tells the game to actually start running when you're on there, so that it knows when to start shooting missiles and stuff. The other 2 move your green dot. So if you step on the right pressure plate, first it will teleport you back so that you don't have to, like, if you would stop pressing right, I don't want you to keep moving right or anything. I want it to put you back to the middle and stop moving the green dot. So I teleport you back, then I replace the pressure plate so it's not still pressed, and then I move the player, or the green dot, 2 blocks this way to the right, yeah. And then on the left pressure plate, it's the same, but it moves, it changes the left, or resets the left pressure plate and moves the green dot armor stand to the left, 2 blocks to the left, yeah. So okay, those are those commands. And then there's, a little bit more redstone for the middle pressure plate. There's kind of a lot of redstone, or at least there's this. So this is like, so that you can get in, but then I want it to be as dark as possible. So I have pistons that, cover up everything so no light gets in, and then you can start flying to retract the pistons, and then you can fly out. Okay, so whenever you're standing on the pressure plate, or you kind of like have been recently, this line will be on. So it'll constantly be rotating you facing this way. So I don't want you to be able to turn your camera and then kind of ruin well, actually you can't see anything because nothing's on. But okay, if I turn it on, then you'll notice if I move my camera around when the game's running, it looks a little bit weird. So like I move my camera around, you can see all this happening, and it looks weird. If you look up or down too much, you get other stuff happening. It's kind of weird, but so anyway, I don't want that to happen. So I constantly, well, I mean, you could kind of see it was happening already, but at least it wouldn't stay that way and have a wrong view, and you'd have a wrong view or something. So I just rotate you facing this way, and then it, hopefully if you move your mouse or something, it'll fix itself quickly. And then it teleports the nearest player. Okay, so then it puts your green dot in the middle when you start playing, pretty much. So then there's this timer or clock that this summons the missiles every, not super fast or anything, but yeah, there's this clock that does that, or timer, I don't really know what you'd call it. But anyway, then there's this AND gate, so it has to try to be summoning a missile, and this lamp has to be lit, as in you basically have to be playing the game, or have it enabled, or whatever I guess you would call that. And then the AND gate ends, and so this is the output. Right now it's off because both of the inputs are off, so it's obviously off. But anyway, then it does this. So this is a randomizer. There are 16 possible bullets or missiles that can be shot. Well, I mean, I guess there's like 8 or anyway, the point is there's 16 different ways a missile could be shot. So there's this randomizer, which is 1-bit randomizer or whatever. It just gives you either this output or this output, and that splits up into two more pretty much equal randomizers, and then 4 of the same randomizers again, and then 8 more, and then that gives us 16 outputs. So whenever this first one gets an input, there will be pretty much randomly, it'll just be one of these 16 will be turned on. Only one, and because only the randomizers only get triggered when they get triggered, so like they'd have to pick that one. Anyway, the point is like it'll pick a random one and then trigger that randomizer, and then pick another random one and then trigger that randomizer. So it's not triggering like every randomizer or anything like that. It's going to trigger random one from each of these like kind of levels of randomizers. I don't know what you'd call these, but anyway, basically you get one of these 16 outputs will be on, and only one, it'll just pick a random one from the 16 basically. And there's like left 1 slow, left 1 fast, left 2 slow, left 2 fast, left 3 slow, left 4, right 1, right 2, 3, 4, 4. So there's like different ones, different directions, and different speeds. So there's left 1 slow. So this is like the leftmost one. and then left 2, or wait, and then it's, no, okay. That would be this one. So it spawns on the left, and it's slow. Then the second one is left 1, but fast, so that's this one. And then left 2 slow is this one, and then left 2 fast is this one, left 3 slow this one, etc. And then it does that with the right ones. So again, only one of these is going to be activated at a time. So whenever it fires a missile, it will pick, basically it just picks one of these random armor stands to, which I guess I could have done so much more easy if I just picked a random armor stand. Well, that's kind of embarrassing, but oh well, this works, I guess. So it'll pick pretty much a random armor stand and then summon G1 missile. Okay, so then it summons a missile at it. So like it'll pretty much pick a random one of these 16 armor stands and summon a missile at it. And then it'll do what the missile does. So that's how the missile spawning works. Then there's these commands that run every tick. It will, actually set up the waypoints correctly. And then for every missile, if it's on top of a magenta glazed terracotta facing east, so that would be these, then it will teleport itself this way. So you can see on the top there's a directional arrow. So this is pointing this way, this is pointing this way, this is pointing this way, this is pointing this way. So it's like, it just helps me know like which way the missiles are going to be moving. So if they're on this block, they'll move to the right, or this way. And if they're on this block, they'll move to the left. If they're on this block, they'll move to the right slower. And if they're on this block, they'll move to the left slower. So that's what these 4 commands are. Then there's like west, and then observer east, observer west. And then it adds a timer objective, and then it will add all missile, or add 1 timer to the missile. So basically there's a timer going for each missile, and then once it's 50, which is 2.5 seconds, it will summon another armor stand that's the explosion, and then it will kill the ones that have been around for 50 ticks. And then it'll set the, or longer, I guess. The same with this one. But anyway, then it will make the explosions be yellow. Actually, wait. Oh, yeah, okay. It makes the explosions be yellow, and then it will add a timer to the explosion, and then it might add more particles and stuff, and they will more particles depend at the right times, because it's like when the explosions timer is the correct value, then it does that, and then it makes the particles yellow, so they'll look exactly the same as the explosions, but they're technically different. And then it'll get rid of any explosions that have been around too long. And what does this do? If block, okay, I think this this is if an explosion is too close to you, it will pretty much end the game. And then whatever this is the particle. Oh, these are the particles. And then eventually the particles will die too. This is empty. I guess that... Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember. Okay. So that's all the commands there are. And then it does the last one, which it does more for the making them appear on the locator bar. But there's a bunch of empty commands because I didn't really know how many I'd use, but this one had to be last. So anyway, whenever you switch to game 2, I guess it resets game 1, so I can hide them from the locator bar, reset my movement speed, kill the missiles, explosions, and particles. I didn't show this, but yeah, when it summons the missiles, it also will set their colors to orange. But anyway, so that's that game. That's how it works. So yeah, I guess I'll move on to the next game, which is the maze one. It's kind of laggy, but oh well. So the way this game works is, you kind of already saw a little bit of it, but there are a bunch of armor stands. So every yellow, for all these wall block, all the yellow terracotta blocks, there will be these invisible marker armor stands that will be waypoints, and they will be sort of yellow, but there's not quite. I'm going to get more into detail with that later, but basically they're yellow, and I guess that's kind of it. You know, they all appear. I mean, that's what these are. These armor stands are all those yellow dots you see when you're playing the game. So yeah, I can look around. You can see them moving. I can move around, and you can kind of see them. I mean, obviously you can't really tell that they're what they are. They're just a bunch of dots, but yeah, so there's that. And then you can see that there are 2 armor stands. So like if I get far enough away, you can see that there are 2 armor stands. So that one is the spawner, and it never changes. I don't get rid of, if I had got rid of it, then the enemies wouldn't even spawn when you reset the game. But then the other armor stand are the actual enemies that get rendered and everything. So that's why there's 2 armor stands. There's really only 1 enemy right now, and it's the one that's closer to me. I mean, that's pretty much it for like this. Like, yeah, that's just enemies, and then there's one end one that never changes. Ooh, yeah. Anyway, there's one end one. This is this one that's green, and it also never changes. But yeah, it ends the game if you get close to it. So, you know, that's what everything looks like. But I will get in. So like, you'll notice that obviously the dots aren't all completely yellow because they get dimmer when they're far away. So that's actually kind of a resource intensive process. If you see the ticks per second chart, it's super laggy. It's lagging. It's actually running at like just about half of what it's supposed to run at. So it's almost running at like half speed. So it's kind of not good, I guess. But I mean, it still works, I guess. It's just slow. But anyway, so whenever game 2 is running, it starts out by filling that area. Well, yeah, see, like, there's a gap here. So there's like stone or smooth stone, yellow terracotta, and then air gap, and then black concrete. So that air gap gets filled in with command blocks that are set to automatically run, and if the block below them is yellow terracotta, you know, the command block, for each command block it runs a command, and if the block below it's yellow terracotta, then it's going to summon an armor stand with a tag of a G2 and G2 wall, which is game 2, or and wall, game 2 wall for the G2 wall one. But if there isn't, it won't summon the armor stand. So that's why there are, you know, you can see all these armor stands, but as I get into this area, there's nothing here. There's no armor stands. It's just empty space. But then there's armor stands with, you know, where the yellow terracotta blocks are. So that's how that's done. It doesn't happen every tick. It just happens when you pretty much turn on the game or whatever you'd want to call it, or initialize it. Then it removes those command blocks because I don't want them to stay around. And then it will summon an enemy at every enemy spawner. And that set blocks a redstone block here, which does that like rotating thing. So this is like, yeah, making sure I'm rotated the right, like, up-down distance, or what would you call it? Like, you know, to have the right X rotation or whatever. Anyway, from where I'm looking, if I turn that off, you can see I can move normally, but then if I do this, I can look left and right, but I can't look up and down without it teleporting me back. So I think that's what it is, like 9,700. Yeah, that looks about right. So it's probably, I think that's what that is. Anyway. But then it'll also run all these command blocks every tick. So it will, yeah, set up the waypoint stuff. It will do, what is this? Oh yeah, this makes, okay, so this is where it kind of gets interesting. So for all the wall marker, which are those are those like 1,000 entities, invisible armor stands that you were seeing, for every single one of those, it'll check if I'm within 4 blocks, and if I am, or if there's a player within 4 blocks, then its color will be brightest possible yellow. If there's someone in between 4 and 5 blocks away, then it'll set its color to EE0, which is slightly dimmer yellow. And then if there's someone 5 to 6 blocks away, it'll be DD0, and as you can probably guess that we're getting dimmer. And then 6 to 7 even dimmer, 7 to 8, etc., all the way to, you know, we're going to have, you know, 16 to 17 is 220, which is And then, yeah, and then 17, 18, 110, which is, well, it's not the dimmest possibly. It's a pretty dim yellow. You wouldn't even probably call it yellow. It'd probably be like a brown, or I don't really know, but basically a super dim yellow. And then if it's 18 or more blocks away, it'll be pitch black. And then it does other stuff. So for all those wall, entities or whatever, armor stands, it will fill the area in the room that I'm in, or would be in, with barriers, so that I can't just walk through walls. Because, technically I'm not actually here when I'm playing the game. I'm up in this dark room, so I would be able to just walk around freely if there weren't any blocks there. And I don't want you to be able to see the blocks, because then you could just not even look at your locator bar, and you could just walk around the room like normal, and it kind of wouldn't be very fun, or at least it wouldn't be what it's supposed to be. So it just uses barrier blocks. And then for all the enemies, it makes them solid red. For the end, it makes the end green. And if an enemy is close enough to you within 9 blocks, which isn't really like 9 blocks as you would expect in that flat room, because since you're a few blocks above the other armor stands, it's not really going to work, right? It's not quite what that would be, but so it's not quite, it's probably more like 7 to 8 blocks away of what it would actually be if you were on the same Y level. But I just, have to put it up. Well, I didn't probably have to, but I did put it up to 9 so that it would be more like, so that it would kind of balance out the fact that you're above it, I guess. So anyway, it'll teleport those armor stands like a little bit towards you. It'll move them a little, like slightly towards you. Then what was this? G2 timer. Oh yeah, so this is adding objective. If there's an enemy close enough to you, then it'll add one, or I'll set one to the lose, and there's basically, if you haven't died yet, and there's an enemy close enough to you, it'll set the lose timer to 1, which basically means you're dying. And then, it'll keep adding it, and then it makes everything black if you're dying. It makes all the walls black. And then, what is this? Oh yeah, and then it resets all the enemies and everything. Oh yeah, then it'll summon... Oh yeah, it'll resummon the enemies at all the enemy spawners when it resets, and then it will reset the lose timer so that you don't continue to keep like dying or something. And then it does pretty much the same stuff, but for ending the game, which is if you're close enough to the end entity. Where's the actual no. Yeah, you have to be 5 blocks away from that one, but you only have to be... Oops, how'd that happen? You only have to be 4 blocks away from this one. So, anyway. Yeah, and then it sets everything to be green, so that's how you know you beat the game. And then, it's similar stuff for resetting it, but for when you end the game instead of lose the game. And, that's pretty much it. There's a few other commands here. So this is like the commands for... Well, this is actually for the other game, the missile game. This, does some other teleport... I mean, this is, resetting the game. Now, I didn't really go through this part of the first game. This is the red dots that go... I mean, I kind of showed you, but basically it just... If you put a redstone block here, it'll make everything go across the screen and then teleport back. I guess I can show you what that looks like, though, when you put the... So you can see these are the red dots for the first game. So, you can see the red dot on the screen, on the bar. You can see they move across the screen, and then they teleport back. And, of course, normally they're off screen, so you won't actually see them when they're playing normally. But then when that redstone block gets put, they'll kind of go across the screen, and you won't really see them teleport back. So, that's that part. But anyway, that's pretty much it. I mean, Yeah, that's all that these games do. There's not gonna be a world download or anything. It's still a little bit broken. Like, I don't know. There's not really, obviously real ways to like start them. You just have to fly into the right place, or for the maze one, you have to step on this pressure plate to get teleported in. But anyway, it's there's not going to be a download or anything. It's just, pretty much a proof of concept for games that you could make with the Locator Bar. So yeah, that's about it. It's a pretty, obviously there's commands involved, but it's pretty simple. Just putting armor stands on the Locator Bar, and you make interesting games, 1D games. It's interesting. Obviously, you can't really make super advanced games, but you can still make games that are playable. So it's pretty interesting. That's about it. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos. And if you want to catch every single video, don't forget to click the bell. And I'll see you in my next one. Hope you enjoyed.